Good morning, fellow gardeners. Thought I'd give you a quick little video of the garden before I get into today's tasks. A bit of a late start today, doing the old family things. So as you can see, these are all my spring onions. Hopefully eventually I'll have a spot for all of them, considering I've probably got about another 30 or 40 to plant again today. So this year I've been dedicating to spring onions just for lack of a better place to put them in. This is coming down today, so this is Madagascar bean. Didn't really realise I was growing it at the time. It's all underneath these beds. It was growing madly under there and I just went, it's nitrogen, and covered it all up. But now I've left these go long enough. Yesterday I went through and picked a bag full of beans so that I've got a seed reserve. Not really a fan of them. Nicknamed them the apocalyptic bean because, you know, only in apocalypse am I planning on eating them, but I will use them for chop and drop. So these are not doing too bad. So when I went crazy with the wrong ratio mix for the monolepto beetles, I did quite a bit of damage. I've been slowly getting rid of the damaged leaves. But yeah, everything's doing pretty good. As you can see, the other side of the pool fence there, the farmers' friends are going strong. But that pretty little ground cover has all been growing in through there, which is what I want to do with that whole area next to the pool, and hopefully it will smother out any farmers' friend seeds. It's quite difficult to figure out what to do next to the pool. So down here, you know, my one and only hollyhock is still surviving. As you can see, it's been eaten a bit. This is slug damage. Since I've been using the sugarcane mulch from Bunnings, I now have a slug issue. Don't know if it's just coincidence, but I haven't had an issue with slugs before. Some of my first calendula flowers, like there's sorrel and silver beet and parsley. These yellow pear tomatoes have been doing pretty good. Yeah, just odds and ends put in everywhere. You see more spring onions. This is happening to the calendula leaves, and I'm pretty sure that's me. Pretty sure I did that with the dishwashing liquid spray, but you know, I still have monoleptos on the property, and they have completely covered that mulberry tree over there. They're eating all the new growth. New growth. I'm not overly phased about it because that tree doesn't produce fruit. It produces flowers, gets the bees, and no fruit. And then they totally bypass the garden, and you can't really see it for the bottle brushes, but in there behind the bottle brush are these big weeping type figs. There's another one in through there, and the monolepto beetles have gone to it and are eating the fruit off it. So be it. The few that do make it to the garden, I just squash them. Right, so bed number 2, my gorgeous little pear tomatoes, and they are so damn yummy. Gone. Oh, so good. My first try growing warrigal spinach. It was gifted by a neighbour. It's doing quite well. It even survived my dishwashing liquid episode. But all these tomatoes are the yellow pear ones, except for one over there, which is a funny looking small eggy type one. Not actually a Roma, but yeah. So the warrigal spinach is doing really well. And I've just been mixing it in with my other spinach-like plants. Same with the sorrel. And I use it for pasties and cob loaf and things like that. It's our poop. Yeah, so a few milk thistles come through, what I call milk thistles. I think they're called a sow thistle. Spring onions everywhere, as you can see. Garlic's coming along quite well in this spot. And then there's brassicas. You can see the slug damage, and if you turn it over, okay, so maybe that one's not, maybe I need to look for a bug. But normally, there we go. You can see the slug trails. So I'll have to come out of the night and see if I can pick some off. And the Egyptian walking onions have transplanted well. And down here, and the sage is still holding on. As you can see, all the spring onions. And then in this bed there's the brassicas, so it's cabbage and broccoli. I think it's sprouting broccoli. Marigolds. What else have I put in here? This one was primarily for the brassicas. See, look, even something's attacking the marigolds. So it's got to be slugs, I'd say, because I haven't found a plant yet that deters slugs. And I've put in seeds where you can see the vermiculite. Not a lot of movement there, but I'm not going to give up hope. This was a poor little chili that I transplanted from the Permi orchard. And yeah, so this is the sort of damage that I did with my dishwashing liquid, and that's because I did a 50-50 mix and not the proper ratio. It definitely, I believe it worked. So yesterday I used one of these, it's supposed to be a tomato tripod. I actually put it out straight, used cross members, used a couple of canes so that I could hold these tomatoes up from the path. And damage on the carrot tops, that was me. And then there's coriander. The sorrel's doing really well. It's my first time growing the sorrel. And this one curly leafed kale is doing quite well. And there's more tomatoes, and yeah, it's always the way, because I just scatter seeds, and these are all parsley here. And of course, in the edge of the path is where the best parsley grows. I can't tell you how many times I've walked on that. One sunflower just starting to bud up. And we go on to bed number 4. And it's all pretty much the same stuff. A pigeon pea there starting to do well. Some beneficials, which in this case looks like clover. I know I just scattered the seeds. A few calendulas. More seeds I've put in. These brassicas are doing quite well. I would say now these ones, their roots would be tapping into the horse manure down below. The alyssum, coriander, another pigeon pea, pineapple sage. Looks so pretty, the pineapple sage, and smells amazing when you touch it. Haven't found something I like to use it in. My first lettuce is doing okay. And these, I would say, like per normal, other radishes are doing really well. Some chives, lots more silver beet family that I've transplanted up from the Permi orchard. Because we're going into El Nino, there will be no water down there, and they were struggling as it was, but doing quite well up here. I did, however, lose my echinacea that I brought up. I transplanted these strawberries up here, and they seem to be doing okay. These are garlic chives and a borage that I transplanted up. And then over here you can see there's the more of the spring onions. And then these are some things that I've been propagating. So of course you can see there's rosemary, that's pyrethrum. And then I've got more geraniums and lavender. This is an ornamental that does quite well here, but I'm not having a great lot of success at propagating it. Then we've got some nasturtiums, some capsicums that I transplanted up from the Permi orchard, some more garlic chives, my dragon fruit. Got more pots here. My bestie gave me some lemon balm, and pretty sure I've killed it. And this is, I can't remember what it is. I think it's pyrethrum, but not quite sure. A volunteer tomato that I found, so I just chucked it into a pot. Lemon tree's doing pretty good. My daughter did the first harvest of lemons off it yesterday. So the Mexican sage, I gave it a good haircut after most of the flowers had died because I wanted them for the bees. And the mulberry tree had kicked in, so wasn't so worried about knocking down these ones. I've still got to do the ones down in the Permy orchard. Chucking in some of the guinea pig poo and stuff, ready for a new bed here. So these are cuttings of pepinos and our pink Iona grapes. And then we got snow peas. And then these ones were something different. They are called Yakumo pea. Yeah, haven't tried them before, but you know, had the seeds, might as well use them. So yeah, this is the other side of the bed. Bed number 4, it's doing all right. So bed number 5 is, I planted the silver beets in, and the chives, and the tomatoes, and then everything else was scattered in. As you can see, I swear almost every seed of radish has come up. Now, I'm not a radish fan. I grow it because I can. Using it as chook food, really. I've been picking off the bigger leaves, especially around the silver beet and stuff, to give to the chooks, and they don't mind. But as you can see, I swear, every single one came up. Same with the broccoli that I threw in between the snow peas. I swear every one of those has come up too. So I've been slowly thinning them out and giving them to the chooks. Yeah, more greens they get from me, less likely they are to intrude. Because funny enough, this bug exclusion netting going all the way around has actually kept them out. And I've just got it pegged up on electric fence posts. Got a pretty little petunia there. There was some alyssum. Oh yeah, a bit of alyssum in there. But it's being squashed out by the radishes. Another reason why I've been giving the seeds. So this is my marquee. I did have the bug exclusion mesh around here, but I took it down yesterday. No real need for it now. This beautiful daisy has just skyrocketed. It's amazing. If I can find the name of it, because it has done really well. There you go. That's what it's called. Sunshine yellow. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that, but you can read that. So this one's had a few flowers, but hasn't grown too big. And this one is, okay, same with this one. Yeah, a couple of pretty little flowers. This one is white lion. I also got flower heads off this, so like this, and scattered them. And, oh look, they're popping up around the place. This is a type of basil, can't remember what. Pineapple sage, pepino, tomato, a sunflower seed has come up. More warrigal spinach in under there. My neighbours said it would go crazy and they weren't lying to me. So tomato, can't remember what tomato it is. Probably it's going to be the little pear one. Another pepino. And then these are capsicums. I'm going to assume Mad Hatter or Snapsicum. And then we have all my seedling trees. So I did another round of garlic and they're ready to go out again. I did better the second time later in the season. The first time I got probably a 1/3 strike rate. Now I've got probably a 50-50 strike rate. And then I got a lettuce in there, and that was actually from, remember those woolly seeds? I think that was the first round of woolly seeds. So I'll transplant it out. I haven't given up on the asparagus, even though that's when I put it in, because funny enough, asparagus takes a long time, so I've discovered. These are new ones I did the other day. So we got sweet bite tomatoes. They're another cherry form because they do better here. Calendula. And lettuce, it was a mixed. And the lettuce was actually a packet that you used to get from the newspapers years ago. I think it was the Sun Herald, years and years and years ago. So I don't know if they'll do any good, but we're going to give it a go. So this was the first round of asparagus seeds that I put in. This guy came up first, this little one here, just all by itself. It came up first, and I thought, wow, out of a whole tray, it's going to be the only one that strikes. And then, oh, sorry, that was my chooks. They've laid eggs and they're over in the bushes. Be lovely if they could lay them in the pen, but anyway. So these ones were planted on the 7th of May of this year. And as you can see, some of the seeds are still striking. So never going to give up on asparagus seed. Had a tray of basil and lettuce that did no good. That's asparagus. Now these ones were planted on, oh, that was smart, Tanya. I did not put a date on those ones. I normally do. And a couple of them have come up in the last few days. So I will hold my fingers crossed for them. Coriander. Now I used, again, more of those woolly seeds for the cabbage. And there, oh, might be one there. But anyway, not holding my breath for them. These ones I did the other day. If you're wondering about the spoons, when Woolies was phasing out the plastic spoons to replace with the bamboo and the sugarcane ones, they were selling off packs of these for like 50 cents. And I went, yes, what awesome tags. And at 50 cents, I think there was like a dozen in each one. I got them. So these are more of the tomato bites. These have taken a little while. They were put in on the 25th of May. And then I've got Moneymaker and beefsteak. Now, even though they seem to be growing quite well, I don't hold my breath for them either, because I really don't do too well with big tomatoes in our environment. Okay, more asparagus. There's one out of that tray, and that one was done on the 25th of May too, so there's still plenty of time for them to come up. And then we have alyssum. Oh my goodness, I have some little purple flowers on there. There we go. There was supposed to be lettuce in here, and as you can see, there was one that looks quite sad, but nothing else came up in there. So a rogue alyssum over here, but they were supposed to be jalapeno chilies. Artichokes. I got 4 out of the tray, which, you know, is better than I've done before. Another rogue alyssum. And then we got leeks. Purple something that has done nothing. And that's supposed to be a pak choi, and there's a couple of rogue lettuces under there. A mate wanted some comfrey, which I've been slack and still haven't delivered. But I planted some more for myself as well, and it's starting to shoot. This was a blackberry vine that had self-rooted in the ground down in the orchard. So I dug it up. These are poppy seeds that I grew. I totally overloaded one of these trays, and all of those little ones, they're all poppies that came out of the one tray, and I've had to replant. I got some volunteers from around the place. So there's donkey's ears, a begonia, I think that's a form of jade, and some geraniums. Just if there's volunteers, I'm going to grab them, just so that they can protect what I want to grow, and they can also be used for chop and drop if I want. So then we got, they're either snapsicums or chilies. Another tomato, which I'm going to assume again is the little pear one. Sorry, I'm hoping you're getting a good view because I can't see in my phone for the sun. So these are artichokes, globe artichokes. Again, both the same age. One's obviously doing better than the other. I've also planted one of them down in the Permi orchard. Pineapple sage. Then we come round, there is a rose bush here. because I've actually taken over one of my dad's areas and all he had planted was around the edges. So like up along the sides of the beds there, he's got hippeastrums. And down along this edge he had roses and lavender. So there's a rose there. So they're the poppies. In here is more basil and something in the capsicum family. More tomatoes. Now I think they're a different variety. There's more of that cute little ground cover. It actually comes up with these little tiny yellow flowers, quite cute. So on my last couple of visits to Daly's, they have a free table to a loving home. I got some chives, some more chives. This is called a kangaroo apple. I'm yet to research that. In here, my neighbour gifted me a prickly cucumber, which I'm not a fan of to eat, but I'm sure the chooks will like it. But I literally planted the whole thing in there. Can you see it? Yeah. And I've just covered it with dirt, and you know, what will be will be. Another rose, and it's just getting one little bud up there now. It's already done a couple of rounds, and as you can see, aphids. So hopefully the lady beetles will be here soon. Some more of these kangaroo apples. I thought worst case scenario I can use them for chop and drop. Another volunteer tomato that I found. This was more freebies off Daly's Tree Nursery. So that one's a raspberry. This one I bought was a cassava, and I really hope I haven't killed it. I threw a couple of sprouting potatoes in there to see what happens, and it's literally just got horse poo and some sugarcane mulch. There's another raspberry, more raspberries. The raspberry is tulamine, so they're all the same variety. Some more poppies. These are the old school purple passion fruit, and then calendulas. Up in here I have got pepino cuttings, red Russian kale in there too. Those are all butternut pumpkins. This is more cuttings from my blackberry. And these are the elderberries that my son gifted to me for Mother's Day. Pull the tag out and clean it. And go. I wasn't sure where exactly to plant them here, so I've put them into pots for the moment. Another one of my dad's roses. And this is the lavender that my dad planted. I have got no idea of the name. I wish I did. I didn't keep the tag when he planted it. And it has gone great guns. It has just boomed. So that's the lavender that I've been taking cuttings from, because it's the one that's growing the best and actually looks like normal lavender. I got a couple of others in the Permi orchard. They don't look like lavender. So these three long pots here are 3 different types of ranunculus. I kept the tags from them and just labelled these like that with the number 2, 1, 2 and 3, and then I labelled the packets that I kept with which one's which, and they've done quite well. These two, it looks like nearly all the corms have sprouted. This one, probably 3/4. This was on here originally to keep the chooks off. I can actually remove that now. So my mate at Little Acres Homestead, Kim, she gifted me Jerusalem artichokes, and that's in that one, and that pot, and that pot, and that pot, and that pot. I'm trying to sprout some pecans there, but they were pretty old. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, and then we come around to... So again, my mate Kim at Little Acres gifted me some plants. These are medicinals. So I got Heal All, and yep, you can read that one. And then this was one I bought years ago and actually found it surviving, called Self Heal. I'm not sure if it's the same as Heal All, but it's looking like it, but we shall find out. Okay, and then we're back up to the lemon tree. And then these bigger pots in here have got dahlias, which you can't see for the weeds, and that one had ginger in it. Right, so today's task is I'm going to work my way around. Oh, and if I didn't mention, there's actually a mango tree in there that my dad planted. But after I've done some planting, like I said, I've got heaps more spring onion bottoms to go in and some more seeds to plant. But then I'm going to attack this side. I'll try and zoom out a bit. Okay, as you can see, I've started with the cardboard. Now I've got a good supply of horse manure, and I visited a local furniture company and got a bunch of cardboard off them, as well as from the company that my daughter works for. So you can see all these ornamentals along the side is, oh, let's continue up here because I want to show you this rose. Absolutely gorgeous. So my dad's had a thing about flowers and roses. So at one point I found them and they were cheap, and he's put them all in along here, and I'm just going to plant in between. But this one is gorgeous and the smell is amazing. Butterfly bush in full flower, and I can't remember what the purple one is behind it. Butterfly bush is interesting, absolutely gorgeous. Bees love it and does really well here. But the smell is interesting. I can't say it's pleasant, can't say it's disgusting, but interesting, different. Haven't smelt a flower like that before, and it's really potent. So I'm hoping it's going to be, well, it's obviously good for the beneficials, like in the bees, but I'm hopefully that it will deter bad ones. So we got cannas growing here amongst a few other ornamentals. Been pulling these out for years. Now I know the benefit of them. They will be chopped and dropped, and I'm actually spreading the seeds instead of trying to stop the seeds. We got a couple of mangoes in here. I want these palm trees gone, so hopefully at some point we will drop those. So Dad planted hippeastrums along here. I believe one side of the path is white and the other side of the path is red. Then we got a few peace lilies. Put a water drum out here. It's a bucket of worm castings. More peace lily. And then I'm gonna fill in all this with cardboard. And over here, my dad planted out, I had a big pot of aloe vera. These were all tiny little plants, probably 18 months ago. And he had a thing too that every time he weeded, he actually dug the plants up. So these have been dug up like 3 times. But they are loving it here. I've got another big pot of it out the front. I think it will go in here too. These are an ornamental ginger, a volunteer mulberry. I will pull that out and move that down to the permy orchard. But these gingers, when I've been cutting them, I've just been shoving them in the ground. If worst case scenario, I can use them for chop and drop. And then we go on to our monstera and geraniums and my dad's side of the gardens that I'm not interfering with yet. Oh, there was a wanderer butterfly on the butterfly bush. So there's roses and wisteria over the arch. But yeah, so this is what I'll be covering today, hopefully. It's really not feeling like winter today. And I might have to venture back inside and put some shorts on, because it's a bit hot in the black jeans. Alrighty, so that's the little tour, and hopefully I can do another one when I've actually made some progress. Alright, I hope you all enjoy a beautiful day gardening. It was quite hot outside and I was wearing black jeans, so I went inside and changed and decided to spend a little bit of time in the shade starting the seeds I had allocated for today. So obviously, I did these ones the other day. Obviously I thought I knew what they were going to be. I'd say probably a snow pea or something like that, but who knows what I put in there, because I did not record it. But today I did banana capsicums, because apparently they do better here than the other varieties. dahlias, because I've fallen in love with dahlias. Lucerne tree. Cosmos, I've fallen in love with cosmos. And these ones are snapsicums. Again, I've done pretty well with these here. So some more of the Woolies ones. We've got cherry tomatoes, cress. I've never grown cress before. And then I did more seedling trays and I brought seeds down. So I just threw in some of the spring onions because I got to put all these in. Yeah, so what I do with my seedling trays, right, so because they're quite deep, they're the ones from Bunnings that you normally get flower seedlings and stuff in. So in the bottom of those, this is the cheapest Bunnings potting mix you can get, all purpose. I think it's called Garden Basics. So I put that in the bottom. And then the seed raising mix that I use is the Yates brand. Yates seed raising mix. It's not particularly cheap. It's like $9 for 6 litres. I buy it at Woolies when I do my shopping, but I've had pretty good success with it. And then years ago I watched this series called A Fork to Fork by Monty Don and his lovely wife. And he would put the seeds on top of the seed raising mix and then sprinkle with vermiculite just to cover the seeds, because vermiculite is really light, as you can probably imagine. But yeah, it's really light and it allows the seeds to push through easily. So for all your little seeds, it makes it quite easy for them to push through and to reach the sun. And I've had fairly good success rate, you know, like depending on the seeds. And I get my seeds from all sorts of places. Excuse me. So our local library does a seed library where we swap, and they're all locally grown seeds by either the library themselves or other people. And then like the snapsicums were all saved from my own. The banana capsicums were actually saved from capsicums I bought from Woolies. And the lucerne tree seeds came from, hang on a sec, I'm going to have to, I think it was Bundaberg seeds maybe. I'm really not sure. The front of the label wore off. So I'm really not sure where they came from, but you know, I buy my seeds from so many different places. The Seed Collection, Happy Valley Seeds, eBay, Bundaberg Seeds, Bundy Seeds. So many companies. I do a lot of trading with neighbours and friends. A lot of trading with my mate Kim from Little Acres Homestead. These are some cuttings, because in there, behind the pepinos, used to be a little chook pen in there. It's actually next to our pool pump shed. And in there, cherry tomatoes always grow, but never get many cherry tomatoes. But the plant always grows. So every year I go in there and I take some cuttings. I took these about a week ago. And as you can see, when I get in focus, the roots are already starting. And then I'll just put them out into the garden. Because of our temperate semi-arid environment, the smaller the tomatoes, they do better than the big ones. I've got to show you this pepino while I'm here. So I moved here 5 years ago. And this, I took cuttings from the plant from the last property. And the plant at the last property was actually cuttings from the property before. And this is what it does. Right, there's the edge of the garden bin. And then all of these grow out onto the pavers. And then I come along whenever someone wants to clean the pavers, and I take all the stuff that's from the edges of the gardens and then I propagate it. It's really easy. As you can see, it starts to grow these nodules and they'll all shoot roots. Here's where it's been laying on the dirt that's accumulated on the pavers, and they'll all grow if you treat it right. I have not treated a lot of it right, and I have put it in places where it does not get enough shade, does not get enough water, but it really likes it here. My dad's rosemary likes it here too, which is where I get all my cuttings for all my rosemary plants. The other day I did a big plant out in the Permy orchard of rosemary cuttings. I did 40 holes, and every hole's had at least 2 plants in them, most of them rosemary. I have plans for rosemary in the future, and it grows fairly well here, even though I normally kill it. But yeah, so I'm going to try and just flood the place with rosemary. Over here's another side where my dad's put in different things. Garlic chives down in here. This is an old school plant. Don't know what it's called. I should probably find that out one day. There's these, I thought they were hippeastrums, but they are not. That's definitely not a hippeastrum flower. In there, that big capsicum plant is 3 years old in there. And then of course I've thrown in more pepinos. There's a chili in amongst the weeds. So the rats actually ring barked my pigeon pea some time ago, and it died. Caused me lots of sadness because the king parrots used to come in here and eat on it. It's very disappointing. But anyway, it gets now used as chop and drop. There's also a couple of, I think it's turmeric in there. You can see here the leaves have died off. I generally don't harvest it from in there. There's turmeric in here as well. This is just in a little courtyard. There's a pond over this side. Lots of volunteers start here on the pavers, which is from these plants, and I'll go and grab them. There is actually a pecan tree in here that I put there when we moved in, just so that it wouldn't die, and I should actually probably put that down in the Permy orchard. See, the elephant ears are in there. Ooh, spider. But these are gorgeous. These are Louisiana iris, and when they flower, they're amazing. I've started propagating them up here. This was my father and mother-in-law's plant out of their house when they moved. I just kept it in the pot, and it seems to like it here. And the peace lily, which I've been propagating out the Louisiana iris. I've also started some, oh wait there, I've got a spider web on my phone with the spider. Nice, there we go, over there. I've started some budgie seed, just for the chooks and the budgies and the rabbit and the guinea pig. Yeah, I like this spot, but it definitely does not get enough sun in winter for a lot of things to grow. But I'd like to grow there, but anyway. And above it are these foxtail palms, and that's where my yellow passion fruit vine grows. All the way through those trees, and I just wait for them to drop. Passion fruit butter, yum! Did forget to mention, but that's my grapevine, pink Iona. I think that's how you pronounce it. With some friends, Facebook friends, we discovered what it was. I've taken cuttings off this, but other than that, it does not get pruned, except when it goes up onto the roof, which drives me crazy. But it is gone all the way up into these golden canes, comes all the way over the arch, and up into even up into this happy plant, or Madagascar. There is another couple of trunks there. They are a purple grape. Obviously must be a wine grape because they are disgusting. But luckily it did not produce last year, and everything that was producing in there was all pink Iona, which was amazing. Apparently every animal on the planet thinks pink Iona grapes are beautiful. Can't blame them, they're good. I just came out to start taking out this Madagascar bean to use as chop and drop, seeing as I don't like to eat it. And the ants are on the move. I wonder what they're telling me. Besides the fact there's a couple of queenies in there. But yeah, you don't often see them going like this unless there's a dramatic change in the weather coming. Normally rain. I can only hope. Right, so I managed to go through with the hoe and got a lot of the weeds and that just laid down, chopped out a few things, and then got all these big bits of cardboard laid on top of the smaller stuff. And I even started doing over this side of the pool fence, and I got rid of the apocalyptic bean off the pool fence on that side, put some down as chop and drop, and put some into the chooks too. Alrighty, that's another day done.